All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the dashboard walkthrough and basic campaign setup webinar. We're super excited to kick off our Reddit ads workshop series with this content. This presentation is the perfect way to begin our series. So to introduce myself, my name is Kat. Be in mid-market advertisers understand Reddit ads and find success with their ad campaigns. I'm really excited to kick it off with this topic today because you will leave with an understanding of the ins and outs of the Reddit ads dashboard, how and when to use the different features and functions, and a step-by-step tutorial of how to set up a basic ad campaign with a Reddit ads expert. So a little bit about the format of the presentation. You'll be able to ask your questions throughout, but then we will save them for at the very end, and we will go through the top asked questions, and the ones that we don't get to, we will respond to you via email. And of course, the exciting part of this presentation is also that we will have a incentive. And if you don't know, we are awarding a lucky winner with a connection with a Reddit ads account manager who will be able to audit and review your basic ad campaign setup or your ad campaign setup and really help you to guide you in the right direction and give you tips and pointers. So definitely want to stick around for that. But yeah, so without further ado, I will introduce you to my colleague Vivian, who is our lead account manager here and also my friend. Take it away, Viv.
Thank you, Kat. Hi, everybody. My name is Vivian. And just to further introduce myself, I have been at Reddit for over 2 years now, and I'm an account manager on the mid-market team, which basically means I partner with a lot of our advertisers to help them launch their ad campaigns on Reddit and working very closely with them to help them find success on our platform. And I'm very excited to be here with you guys today to talk about our ads platform, to give you guys a tour of our ads dashboard, and to review with you guys step by step how you would go about building your own campaign on Reddit. So before we start, wanted to review our agenda items for today's webinar. First off, we're going to start with reviewing steps for getting started. So that's just going over a few checklist items that we want to make sure we have in place before you're able to log into our ads dashboard and start building campaigns. Once that is complete, we'll go into a dashboard walkthrough where I'll cover a few of our dashboard features, which will include things like how to pull in different reporting metrics, how to leverage our Reddit conversion pixel if that's something you want to use. And after that, we will go into a basic campaign setup. So that's when I will walk you guys through step by step how you would go about building a campaign, an ad group, and an ad. And we will then afterwards get out of the presentation mode and go into the live environment, into our ads dashboard, and we're going to go walk through building a sample campaign together. And at the end of that, I will pass it back to Kat to share some key takeaways as well as a list of resources that we have put together. We have a bunch of links that we've gathered that are going to be really helpful for you guys to reference as you begin building your own campaigns on Reddit after the webinar. And as Kat mentioned, we will save some questions for the end. Great. So, moving on, we're going to kick it off again with going through 3 steps for getting started. So again, these are just a few items you're going to need to cover off on before you're able to start building campaigns on our dashboard. The first of which is you'll need to create a Reddit ads account. You can't run ads without an account, and to set up your Reddit ads account, you're going to go to our dashboard, which is ads.reddit.com. And when you first go into our ads dashboard, you're going to be greeted by a registration page that's going to look like the screenshot I have here on the screen. And you're going to want to fill out that registration page and sign up with a Reddit username. So the Reddit username is going to be next to any post that you make on Reddit, whether it be an organic post, a comment, or your promoted posts. So you definitely want to use maybe your company name, your business name as your username, or it could be your company name _ official. We just wanted to make it very, very clear for our Redditors who's messaging to them. Great. So once you have your Reddit accounts created, you are going to want to customize your profile. And to customize your profile, you are able to upload a header image. You're also able to upload a profile image and as well as share a little blurb on your profile. And all of this is going to be viewable by any Redditor who goes onto your profile page. And you should also know that your profile image does appear next to your promoted posts. So we do recommend using something like a logo as your profile image, just to get that extra piece of branding next to your ads. So once you've created your account, you've customized it, the next step would be to gather all of your ad assets that you're going to need for building out your campaign. And our ads auction allows you to bid on our promoted post unit. And the image here is an example of what that promoted post could look like. So you can run static images or videos for your promoted post. And we do have a link out here. The ad unit and specifications help article here does outline all of the specs as well as all the assets you're going to need for your promoted posts. So that's going to include a copy or your headline, which there is a 300 character max limit there, and that's going to appear above your creative. And then of course you're going to need your imagery. So if you're running a static ad, we do ask for a card image, which is your larger image, as well as a thumbnail image. And of course you could also choose to run a video ad as well. And you're also wanting to gather your destination URLs, your display URLs, and select which CTA call out that you would like to use to have appear on your ad as well. And this is the time that you want to gather any trackers that you want to leverage for your campaign as well. If you're using, if you have your own internal reporting and you have impression trackers or click trackers you want to leverage, you can definitely apply them on the ad level as well. So once you have your account registered, you've customized it, you have all of the assets, you're pretty much at that point ready to log into our ads dashboard. Again, that's ads.reddit.com. You would sign in with your newly created username and you can start building out campaigns. And before we go through the actual campaign build process, I do want to talk about our dashboard a little bit. So when you do log into our ads dashboard with your username, you are going to get a view very similar to this snapshot that I have here. You are going to be able to see the existing campaigns that you have already built out. You are also able to tab through to ad groups that you've built and ads that you have as well. You'll see their status, whether they are still serving or if you've paused them. And you're also going to be able to see reporting metrics down below. So the dashboard is pretty much your mission control. It's where you're going to be to manage your existing campaigns. It's where you're going to be to build out new campaigns as well as to pull reporting. And since we all know reporting is really important to any ad campaign, I do want to spend some time to talk about our different reporting features. And I will exit presentation mode and take you on to an account that I have in our ads dashboard to review these things. And I will be reviewing with you guys how to pull in different reporting metrics into your dashboard, how you can further drill down in your reporting and break it down by date, by geo, by targets, how you can adjust the date range that the data is pulling from, and how you can save your reporting views or export it into a CSV. And of course, I do also want to take some time to talk about our Reddit conversion pixel as well. So now for the live demo, we are going to exit out of this presentation. All right, and I am going to show you guys my view here under this Reddit ads account, which is what I'm going to be using for this walkthrough. As you can see, I have my existing campaign that I've already built out under this account. I can tab through to different ad groups that have also been built out. And as you can see, I have a few reporting metrics here, and I can actually pull in different metrics by clicking. Oh, hello. All right, sorry about that. It looks like, oh. Hey guys, sorry about that. It looks like my connection got disconnected for a little bit. Kat, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, sorry about that, guys. Joys of working from home and using your own home Wi-Fi. Sorry about that. All right, so hopefully I didn't get cut off too much, but just to back up a little bit, you can, again, pull in different metrics by clicking this metrics button and selecting and deselecting what you would like to have show up on the dashboard. So we have general performance metrics that you can pull in, and as I select them, you can see they populate on this right-hand column here. You can also pull in your bids and your budgets, which all live in the ad group level. You can also pull in engagement that you've received on your posts, so upvotes, downvotes, comment page views. And if you are leveraging our Reddit pixel, you can use our pixel to track up to 8 different conversion events. And if you are leveraging it, you can then select the different conversion pixel metrics to also populate on your dashboard. So you can see the engagement that your Reddit ad campaigns are driving. Again, as I'm selecting all of these, they are populating on my right-hand column. And if you're running video ads, you can of course pull in video view metrics. And if you are running app install campaigns, you can also pull in you can pull in install metrics as well as post install metrics. We are integrated with all of the major MMPs, so your Adjust, Kochavas, AppsFlyer, etc. You'll just need to log into the dashboard of your MMP and ensure that you have enabled postbacks back to Reddit. And you can bring in everything, all of the installs that you're driving, all in this one dashboard view. So after I have selected all the metrics I want to have appear on my dashboard, I can also order it. So I can shift things around into the order that I want them to appear. And once I am happy with that, I can click apply, and it's going to populate in my reporting view here. So I can, again, further drill down into my reporting by clicking this breakdown menu, and I can break down my reporting by date, by geo-targeting, and by subreddit or interest targeting as well. So if I click that, you'll see it'll kind of further drill down my data. And of course, I can also select the date range that the metric is being reflected by clicking this calendar icon and then just selecting the date range I want to see the data for. And if I'm happy with this view, and I know this is a reporting view that I'm going to go back to over and over again, you can also save this reporting view. So you can click the Save View drop-down menu, select Save Current View, and then just name this reporting view. And that way you can go back to this setup without having to build it from scratch again. And if you're like me and you like to see your reporting in a spreadsheet because it's easier to pivot and to manipulate, you can, of course, download your report into a CSV. Great, so that pretty much covers it in terms of reporting. I do also want to spend some time to talk about our Reddit conversion pixel. So to first access our pixel, you're going to want to go to this drop-down menu here, click conversion, and click this Reddit pixel button, and you'll find the pixel code here. So this is our Reddit conversion pixel. It's the code that you're going to want to add into your website if you want to track page views and engagement. We are able to track up to 8 different conversion events. So you can track searches, you can track purchases, leads, signups, etc. And if you click this Reddit help link here, it's going to bring you to this page, which has step-by-step instructions on how to implement our pixel and how to also test the pixel on your own end so that you can ensure that it is implemented correctly and firing correctly. And I also wanted to note that we are integrated with Shopify as well as Google Tag Manager. If you guys are using those on your site, it should be a lot easier to leverage our pixel using GTM or Shopify. Great. So that pretty much covers it in terms of reporting and conversion pixel. We're going to jump right back into our presentation. Okay. So now I think we're ready to talk about campaign setup. When it comes to building out a campaign on Reddit, there are 3 major steps. So the first one is to create your campaign. And this is where you're going to be defining your campaign objective. And once you have that done, the next step would be to create your ad group. And the ad group level is where you're essentially defining your target audience. So what interest targeting you want to apply, what platforms, what geos you want to serve your ads to. This is also where you're going to be applying your bids and your budgets as well. And once you have your ad group created, you are going to move on to create your ad. And that's, of course, where your promoted post creatives are going to live, whether it's the static ad or the video ad. You're going to have your headline there, as well as all of your tracking and destination URLs as well. And I am going to take you guys through each of these steps a little more in depth, starting with campaign creation. So when you're on the dashboard and you're building out your new campaign, the first page you'll see is this campaign creation module. And the first thing you're going to be asked to do is to name your campaign and then select your funding. So for many of you, it'll probably be just selecting the credit card that you want to have fund your ad campaign. For those of you who want to be on invoice, we do offer invoice billing for our managed clients, and you'll just need to reach out to your accounts team to get that set up. And after you have that in place, you are going to be asked to select your campaign objective. And we have the 5 here for you to choose from: brand awareness and reach, traffic, conversions, video views, and app install. And of course, you're going to want to just select the campaign objective that most closely aligns with the goal you have for your ad campaign. And I actually also wanted to highlight that each one of these campaign objectives are tied back one-to-one with a specific pricing model. So if your goal for your ad campaign is to drive branding awareness and reach, and you select branding and awareness and reach as your objective, you are going to be bidding and paying on a CPM, or cost per thousand impression model. Whereas if you were trying to drive traffic to your site, or conversions, or app installs, and those are the objectives that you choose, then you will be bidding and paying on a CPC, or cost per click model. And for video view campaign objectives, you will be paying on a cost per view basis. And once you do select your campaign objective and you have saved it, you can't change it. So just wanted to highlight that. All right, so that's pretty much it for building out your campaign. Once you have that completed, you're going to move on to build your ad group. And like I had mentioned earlier, the ad group is where you are defining your audience. So what geos you're trying to target, the audience group that you want to try to reach, and the platform: desktop, iOS, Android, etc. And our best practices really is to break out your ad groups by, to test out different targets and different platforms. So in my little ad group examples here, I have 6 different ad group types. All 6 of them are targeting the US, but I'm also having ad groups that are targeting the sports interest target, as well as another one, or other ones targeting a larger audience running run of site. And I have the platforms split out by different ad groups as well. So I have ad groups targeting specifically iOS, one for Androids, and one's for desktop. And I know this can feel like a pretty granular, but this helps see what really is performing. So after your campaign is running for a while, you can see if your sports audience group is performing better for you, or if desktop is backing out to your goals better. And then you can adjust bids and budgets accordingly and optimize your campaigns to better performance. So of course, we just want you guys to keep in mind how you want to build out and map your different ad groups. And of course, you want to name them appropriately so it's easy to identify. And then once you have that, you are going to want to go into defining your audience. So who are you trying to target? And we have a couple different targeting options for you here. You can first start with selecting your geo targets. So we can get as broad as country targeting worldwide, and we can get as granular as targeting specific DMAs within the US. And of course, you can also, in addition to positively geo-targeting, you can also click the exclude button here and also submit or enter in any geos that you want to make sure you exclude from your ad group target as well. And then next up, you're going to be asked to select your interest targeting as well as your communities targeting for your ad group. And want to take some time to back up a little bit and talk about how we do targeting at Reddit. So Reddit is made up of many, many different subreddits or communities, and we kind of use the two interchangeably here. So subreddits and communities, we essentially have a subreddit for almost any topic you can think of. And what our team internally does is we review the subreddits and we whitelist them if we deem them safe for targeting or safe for advertisers to advertise on. And once we've whitelisted them, we also categorize them into different interest groups. So you can kind of have a peek of a few of our interest targets here. So the entertainment interest group would be made up of many, many whitelisted entertainment related subreddits. And I also wanted to note that targeting on Reddit is not placement targeting, it's audience targeting. So what I mean by that is if you're selecting entertainment interest group, so if I'm trying to target the entertainment interest group within this ad group, it doesn't mean that my ad is only going to show up on entertainment subreddits. What it means is I am going to be targeting subreddits by, sorry, it looks like my presentation mode.
Lost you a little bit right after the juicy part when you're going to talk about entertainment interest group targeting and how targeting those subreddits is going to not just target that subreddit, but
Yes, thanks, Kat. And I'm so sorry for all of the tech issues. Of course, this would, it wouldn't be a live webinar without some hiccups. But yeah, so yeah, targeting on Reddit is audience targeting. It's not placement targeting. So if I am trying to target the entertainment interest group, it doesn't mean that my ads are only going to show up in entertainment subreddits. It means I'm targeting Redditors who are interested in entertainment. So these are Redditors who have subscribed to entertainment subreddits, who have engaged with entertainment subreddits by posting or commenting. And any of these Redditors would be able to see my ad either on their feed or while visiting any of our other whitelisted subreddits. So just wanted to clarify that point. But yeah, so after adding in your geo-targeting, you are going to be wanting to define your audience, what interest target you want to have this specific ad group target. You can, of course, also layer in additional subreddits or communities you also want to reach with this ad group. And the last piece is device type. So that's just defining if you want to target desktop only or mobile or both. And if you do select mobile, you do have the option to choose just targeting iOS or just targeting Android or both. Great. So After you have your audience targeting defined, you're going to, oh, just kidding. So before we move on, I do want to touch on this checkmark button here for allow Reddit to expand your targeting. So that does default as checked on.
I think we lost the screen share. So, sorry.
No, I'm sorry. Ah. All right, can you, let's see. All right.
Yes.
Okay.
Back in business.
Sorry about that, guys. Okay. All right. So we talked about the targeting piece. I wanted to chat a little bit about this, the audience expansion checkbox. So if you have that checked, what that essentially means is that you're going to allow Reddit to expand your reach by finding audiences similar to the audience you've already decided to target via interests and communities. So our recommendation here is to leave it checkmarked because it does increase your reach, which is great. So once you have your ad group audience defined, you're then able to move into the delivery portion. So that's setting your budget and your bids and your schedule. So let's first talk about budget. You do have the option to choose between setting daily budgets or lifetime budgets. Either way, our server will pace your budget as evenly as it can, either by the day or throughout the lifetime of your campaign. The next piece is to enter your bid. So again, like I had mentioned before, your bid type really is tied back to the campaign objective that you had chosen at the beginning. So in this screenshot example, you'll see that I am tied to a cost per click. And this is flexible so that, you know, once you've set it, you can always come back to your ad group and adjust your bids higher or lower. And a question that we do get asked a lot is, you know, what do we recommend people start their bids at? And that's actually quite difficult to say because it's going to be very dependent on your audience that you're targeting, as well as just general seasonality and that we see in the auction. But some tips, like we do tend to see that our desktop inventory is more competitive and you want to generally bid higher on an ad group that's just targeting desktop versus an ad group that's targeting mobile where we have more inventory. Similarly, if your interest targeting or your subreddit targeting is very niche and you're just trying to reach a very niche and specific audience, you might need to increase your bids to be competitive versus if you were targeting a wider net and doing run of site targeting, you can probably get away with bidding and clearing a little lower. So our recommendation really here is to start your bid with how much that click is worth to you, and start with that. Let it run for a couple of days, for a week or so, and see how things are backing out in terms of delivery. Are you hitting your budget? How are you pacing? As well as how things are backing out performance-wise. And based off of that, when you have a little bit of data, you can come back and adjust your bids higher or lower based on the performance you're seeing as well as the delivery. Great. And then the next piece is the schedule part. So you can choose to have your ad group deliver continuously starting today. So maybe you don't have an end date specifically, so you just want to have it running. You can, of course, always go back into the ads dashboard and turn off your campaign or turn off your ad group so that they stop delivering. But if you do have specific start and end dates for your campaign, you can click set campaign start and end dates and specify the date and time that you want your ad group to be delivering from. And then the last piece here is time of day. So that is our day parting option. So you can leverage that if you want your ads only to show up on specific days of the week or specific hours of the day. Great. So Once your ad group is all built out, you have the name, the targeting, and all of the delivery and schedule completed, you are going to want to move on to building your first ad. And I'm gonna just populate this stuff here. So for our promoted posts, like I said, you can run either video creatives or static creatives. And we definitely recommend doing a lot of ad creative testing and messaging testing. So try different headlines, try different video lengths, a shorter video versus a longer video. Try different static images and see what works for you. We generally recommend for an ad group to run anywhere between 3 to 5 different ads. Let it run and see what messaging, what headline, or what creative the Redditors or your target audience is responding best to. And of course, you're going to want to name your ad appropriately so that it is easier to understand what creative and what headline you are running with them. And you also have the opportunity to append impression trackers to your ad if that is something that you're leveraging. So if you have your own internal reporting system and you have impression trackers that you'd like to use to track impression delivery as well as view through conversions that your Reddit ads are driving, this is where you would place them. And once you have that set up, you can start, then add your creative by creating a new post. So a post is essentially the creative. It has your images or your video, it has your headlines and all of your URLs as well as your call to action button. So as you can see in this screenshot here, you can toggle to either building out a link post, and that's our static images, or a video post where it's going to essentially look exactly like this, except instead of these static files that you're being asked to upload, you're going to be asked to upload an MP4 file. So this is where you are going to want to add in your post title, which is your headline that's going to live above your creative. And there is a 300 character max limit on that. This is where you're going to add your destination URL. And the destination URL is the link that you are directing to from your ad. And then we also have a display URL field here. And the display URL is the URL that's going to show up on your ad. And I can talk a little bit more about that when we go into the actual dashboard and walk through the build together. And then you are also being asked to upload a card image and a thumbnail image. So your card image is your 1200 by 628 static file, and then your thumbnail image is the smaller 400 by 300. And why do we ask for 2 different static image sizes when only one image will show up next to your promoted post? And the reason is Redditors can be viewing and consuming Reddit in many different formats. A user could be on desktop and viewing Reddit in card view, where the imagery is a lot larger for our posts. Or you could be on our Reddit app on mobile and viewing in compact view, where the imagery for, against our posts are a lot smaller. So having both sizes here allows us to serve the more appropriate image depending on how the Redditor is consuming Reddit. So once you have your images uploaded, you can then also add a call to action button. So this is a drop-down menu, and we have a few CTAs that you can choose from to have on your ad. And the last piece here is this allow comments on Reddit post checkbox. So checking that will basically allow Redditors to engage with your post by commenting on your promoted post. We only recommend that if the purpose of your ad campaign is to drive conversation and engagement within the comments, and that you have a team who is available to respond and to moderate the comments. But otherwise, if the main goal of your ad campaign is to drive website visits, purchases, app installs, etc., we do generally recommend our advertisers to leave that unchecked. All right. So once you've built out your creative in this post-build module, you can then save it and you'll be able to see a preview of your ad creative before you submit it for review. So we do have a 48-hour turnaround time for our team to review ads that come in, new ads that come in, to make sure that they comply with our policy. And yeah, and once that's been approved, your ad can begin serving. So that, I know that was a lot. We walked through how to build a campaign, ad group, and ad. And now we're going to walk through that all together a lot quicker in the live demo. So I'm going to leave the presentation. All right. And I am now on this account here for Boutique Fawn, which is a jewelry company based out of the San Francisco Bay Area. And they sell jewelry, and we are going to build out a campaign together with the purpose of driving visitors to the website to make purchases online. And in preparation for this, I also have this little tracker as well as my assets ready. So for the example, I'm going to walk through building out a static ad for Boutique Fawn. I have my card image as well as my thumbnail image ready here. And then I also have this creative tracker template. This is just a template that I like to use, a lot of us use, something very similar to organize all of the various assets and pieces that we need to have to build out our ads. So if you're building out a lot of ads, having something like this is just helpful to keep organized. But here I have the name I want to name my ad, the headline I want to use, the name of the creative files, as well as my destination URL. So this is where I want my ad to be driving to. And it also has UTM tracking parameters. So maybe I want to, I'm also using Google Analytics, and I want to see the activity that my Reddit ads are driving in Google Analytics. And that's why I have my tracking here. And then I also have the CTA button that I want to leverage for this ad. All right. So going into the ads dashboard, here we are for Boutique Fawn. To build out a new campaign, I'm going to click Create Campaign. And again, this is where I'm going to go name my campaign. And then I'm going to select my campaign objective. So again, my objective for this ad campaign is to drive online purchases. So I'm going to select conversions, and that's going to tie me into bidding and paying on a cost per click model. And then clicking continue brings me to the ad group creation module. So again, this is where we want to think about how we want to break out our different ad groups so that we're able to see what audience or platform performs better, so we have more levers to optimize with. So for this example, let's build one targeting desktop. And maybe for this one, I want to target a fashion audience. So I'm just going to call it desktop fashion. And then I'm going to add what geo I want to reach. And I'm going to just type in United States, since we ship across the country. And if I need to exclude any specific geos, I can click this button here and type in any place I want to make sure I'm not including in my targeting. All right, so moving on, now I'm going to define my interest targeting. And again, I'm trying to target desktop fashion for this ad group. So I'm gonna click the style and fashion interest group. And you can see when I clicked this interest target, we also have sub-interest categories that populate here on the right-hand column. You can also click this little caret to see what is under the style and fashion category. And of course, you can select and deselect any of these. So since I'm selling jewelry for women, maybe I want to remove men's fashion from my targeting. And if I'm happy with this, I can move on. And I can also layer in any subreddit communities I also want to make sure is included in my targeting for this ad group. So maybe I really want to target the jewelry subreddit as well. I can just add that here. And then next would be defining the devices and platforms that I want to target with this ad group. So I, again, can choose between mobile or desktop or all. And in this case, I'm going to choose desktop. And then it comes to setting up my bids and my budgets. So again, you can choose between daily budgets or lifetime budget. I'm going to leave this here. And then when it comes to scheduling, I can have it run continuously, but maybe I want to set start and end dates. If I click that, I can then define the dates and time I want my campaign to be running from. All right, and then the last piece, this was what I was talking to you guys about before. If you want to take advantage of day parting, if you click that, you can select the dates or hours that you want your ads to be served. I'm going to leave that blank for this. And then once all of this looks good to me, I can then save. And it's going to bring me to the ad creation module. So I'm going to name my first ad. In which case I'm pulling it from my creative tracker here. And then I have the opportunity to add an impression tracker if I'd like. I don't have one that I want to add, so I'm going to remove that. And then comes the post, which is where your creative lives. So if you've built ads before under this account, you can see them populate here in your existing post library. So you can just go back and reselect a post that you've already built and have that run in this ad group. Or you can click create new post and just build one from scratch. Like I said, you can choose to build a static promoted post or a promoted post running a video asset. For this exercise, I'm going to build a static post. And then I'm going to pull in my headline. And then my destination URL, that is the one with all of the tracking in place. And then I have this display URL field. So this is, again, that the URL that will appear on the ad creative. So maybe I don't want this long string destination URL with all the tracking to be what's displayed on the ad, but I do want Redditors to know where they are going to be brought or directed to if they click my post. So I'm going to just copy the boutique fawn URL and add that here. And then now I'm going to upload my images. You can just click through and it'll open up your folders, or you can also just drag and drop. So, oops. All right. And then bring in my thumbnail image. And as those are loading, I can also choose my CTA call out. So I have all of these to choose from. I'm going to click shop now, since that's the most appropriate for what I'm trying to do with my, my ad campaign here. And then I'm gonna leave this unchecked, and then I can save my post. And it's populated here. And if you scroll down, you can also see a preview of what that ad is going to look like. This is what it'll look like on mobile in card view. And I could see what it'll look like in mobile on a compact view. As you can see, that imagery is a lot smaller. Or I can toggle over to see what it'll look like on desktop, etc. And if I'm happy with this, I can click review. And the next page is essentially just an overview of the build that you've just made. And this only comes up for the when you're building out a brand new campaign. So I see my campaign details, my targeting details, as well as my ad details here. And then if that all looks good to me, I can click submit, and it's going to be submitted for review. And once it's passed review, it can then start delivering. I also want to quickly note if I want to add additional ad groups, because again, we've only built out the one, I would just need to go to the campaign that I want to add additional ad groups to, click this icon here, and select add new ad group. And that's going to bring me back to the campaign, to the ad group module where I can build out my next ad group. Similarly, if I want to add additional creatives, under that ad, under the ad group that we've just built, I'll just go to that ad group, click this icon, select new ad, and then build out my next ad. And then of course, like I said, you can edit your bids and your budgets for your ad groups. So if you'll just like select them here, and then you can click this edit button here and then edit your bids and budgets. All right, so hopefully that was helpful to see how we can build out a campaign from scratch. I am going to then kick it off to Kat to review key takeaways.
That was such great information. I hope you guys wrote it all down. Just kidding. We will be sending over the deck as a little goodie bag, including a few other leave behinds for you guys, some one-sheeters, that awesome spreadsheet that Vivian was using to track the different creative assets. So stay tuned for a follow-up email that will have a recording of this webinar, a few leave behinds. But yeah, so in key takeaways is basically a set of helpful links and helpful Reddit ads resources. So here, we mentioned these earlier in the getting started, but there's some awesome help articles that are available for you guys that will walk you step by step through how to create a Reddit ads account, how to update a user profile picture, the different ad specs, and how to build a campaign. So we'll have some tips and tricks, some screenshots for you to help guide you. So definitely check those out. They're linked here. And then the following leave behinds will be an ad specs one sheet, a getting started one sheet with a few best practices, as well as that creative tracker that Vivian had shared on screen. I know we're running a little over time, but I do want to take some time to answer a few questions. The ones that we don't answer, because there's so many great ones, we will definitely respond via email. But for now, let's kind of go through, we've got one here, Vivian. How do I grant account access to other users? Maybe I'm not just the only one that is managing the account. So is there a way that I can let my friend or another teammate access the account as well?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And absolutely, if you have a team who's managing your Reddit ads account and you don't want to share the username and password for your main account with everybody, there is definitely a way to grant different users permissions to access the account and help manage the account. I'm going to step away from this presentation again and show you in the live environment. So here, I'm under my account right now. So this is my own personal account. If I click this drop down, I can click manage permissions. And I have the opportunity here to add the email addresses of other members on my team and select a role for them. So whether I want to give them analyst capabilities, creator capabilities, or administrator capabilities, you can read about the different permission levels for each here. And then just invite them into my account, and they can then log into their own email address, their own Reddit account, and use that to manage the main account. Hopefully that was clear.
That there's also a really awesome help article, so I can send that along in our follow-up email as well. And we'll just do one more question. We have one here. Can a single user fall into multiple interest-based audiences?
Yes, you can. So, you know, I'm a Redditor, and if I am engaging with, you know, an entertainment subreddit as well as like a food subreddit, I can fall under both of those targeting categories. So that is something to keep in mind, is that there could be overlap among the audiences.
Totally makes sense. Okay, there's, like I said, a ton of other questions. We definitely want to get to them, but we'll send out our responses via email. Thank you guys so much for joining. We really appreciate you guys taking the time to learn about this with us. And from your questions, I can tell we have a lot of content and a lot of interest in having not only another session just like this about a basic ad campaign setup, but definitely we have room for intermediate advanced campaign setup too, because you guys are asking some really good questions about that. So stay tuned. We want to host these every quarter. So keep an eye out for some more invitations to come. Thanks everybody.
Thanks guys.